2, 3. Happy
Happy
birthday! Happy birthday, Mom. Sam will not be staying for this full video, but he just wanted to pop in.
Yeah, just wanted to pop in and say have a fabulous birthday. Um, Thinking of you, wish we were there. And yeah, have a great day.
It's almost midnight here for us, but I wanted to wake up. I wanted to wait until you woke up this morning. So this tarot reading, I'm doing a tarot reading. This is the surprise. But so this reading was as real time as possible for you on your birthday in America, but it's bedtime for us. It's actually well past our bedtime. But yeah,
Yeah, so I am actually off to bed now,
I'm not far behind.
but I'm very honoured to have got to say happy birthday.
Love it.
See ya.
Bye. So yeah, I'm going to be doing your long-awaited, nice stealthy sneak out that you could see him in the mirror. I think that was him trying to be smooth, like James Bond.
Yeah.
Bye. I'm actually gonna pop my headphones in, so I think there'll be better sound. Bear with me. 1 second. I think this has worked. So yeah, I wanted to wait until the actual morning of your birthday to do this reading, so that it's like a true looking forward on your 58th. Is that correct? 58th? 59? Yeah, 58th year on Earth. Yeah, that's all good. Good night. So I'll dive right in. Basically, I asked my tarot deck. Well, I connected first with your spirit guides. I did this reading beforehand, I should say. I'm looking at all my cards here. I'll take a picture for you and send through after. That's why I keep glancing down. I've also got my little notebook here with all of my notes on your reading. But yeah, I basically just thought of 8 questions that I thought would be relevant and nice to hear on a birthday about the year previously just gone, the year looking ahead, and I'm excited to share what I found. There's lots of good stuff in here. But yeah, I'm going to be honest, I haven't been taroting as much in Melbourne as I did in New York, but kind of just recently, honestly, in the last month or 2, I've been getting back into it again. So it was fun to that's why there was a delay on your reading. You'd asked before for readings, and I was just kind of not really working with my deck at that time. And so, yeah, this felt like a great time and relevant, and I knew you'd wanted one for a while, so we can dive right in. But I hope you also like your Anthropology gift card that is not just from me, but also from Piper and from Sam. So, yeah, we all can't wait to see what you buy in your new clothes. And yeah, I always loved Anthro stuff, and so I thought you would too. So let's just dive right in. So I'll just tell you, I guess, as we go through each question, and I'll hold up the cards so you can take a look, and then we can go from there. So the first question that I asked the deck, and again, I didn't connect with my guides, I connected with your spirit guides. So I asked any angels, ancestors, spirit guides, celestials, beings of light, any kind of divine entity that has your highest and best interest at heart to guide this reading. So that's who we're working with, who or what we're working with. So these weren't from my guides, these are from Nancy Bobbitt's guides, which is quite cool. So the first question I asked them, also I feel like this sweater is it's very like kindergarten teacher vibes, 80s, isn't it? Anyway, the first question I asked was, what energy are you being invited to embody this upcoming year? So from your birthday onwards to your next birthday, what energy are you being kind of invited to embrace? What I mean by this is there's energies that are available to us all the time. Some are more present or more prevalent than others. So this is an energy that's super available to you. You just have to choose to embody it, embrace it, and live it. And this was the 4 of Wands, which is, there's no bad cards, there's no good cards, but there are definitely cards that there's good and bad, whatever that means. There's duality in every card, but this is a card that if you were excited to get one, Four of Wands would definitely be on the list of ones you'd be happy to see in a reading, whether that's right or wrong. But yeah, Four of Wands is the celebration card. You see these little people cheering with their flowers outside of a castle. Maybe they're at like a wedding or a party. And again, I'm just looking at my notes. I'm not making eye contact. But Four of Wands is all about celebration, and it often ties to family. So celebration with loved ones, celebrations with close friends. It's about it's about harmony and relaxing. So I love this for you as the energy you're being invited to embody, because the Four of Wands is all about giving yourself permission to take a break after a long, hard slog. So giving yourself permission to relax and enjoy where you are and what you have with family, friends, close loved ones, before you kind of move into the next stage of life, which, so it's all about kind of just like appreciating that you're in a period of stability and security following a time that was super uncertain, which I thought made a lot of sense considering COVID, hopefully kind of becoming more normal, getting over that. Obviously, everything with dad's health, everything with grandma mom's health. So this year you're being invited to like actually embrace this gratitude for where you are, letting yourself relax, letting yourself enjoy the company of your loved ones, and not having so much stress burdening you. So that is the first card, the Four of Wands. Up next, another four. The question I asked was, what are you being invited to release this year? So that previous card was what you're being invited to embrace. This is what you're being invited to let go of. So this was the Four of Cups. Ta-da! Little guy sat there with his cup being held out to him from a mysterious cloud, while three other cups sit in front of him. And cup cards are about emotions, whereas this is more about like fiery action. Anyway, Four of Cups. What are you being invited to release? So with this card, what I kind of interpreted this as was you're being invited to release the not now, maybe later mentality. So release shutting yourself off to new opportunities. You've got this guy here sat, arms folded, he's closed off, he's comfortable, things are fine where he is, but he's not opening himself up to the possibilities that could be really great for him and really exciting. So you definitely want to check in with your soul, because there's always like opportunities that will arise that are kind of like, they seem good, but you have to really do some soul searching to see if they are right, or opportunities that come up that might on the surface feel like something you should do, but when you actually like dig deeper, you're like, oh, that'll just distract me from what I really want to do. So just check in with your soul when opportunities arise. But I think this is just inviting you to release the crossed arms and really relax and say yes to the unknown. You'll always have an excuse not to. Like, there will literally always be reasons why now is not a good time to start, or go on that trip, or take that class, or meet up with that friend for a drink, or like whatever it is. There's always excuses, but to me, this card is about kind of letting go of those for the opportunities that actually would be good for you, and saying yes to them, because there's a difference between a gut feel that something's wrong for you and a gut feel that's just like a little bit of fear. And if you get past that fear, the experience could be super positive. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of my water because I'm talking a lot. How to practice effective self-care. How can you, the question was, sorry, I'll rephrase that. How can you, mom, practice self-care in a way that is like super effective and actually impactful for you? And there's so many things about like self-care, like bubble baths or massages. That's not really what I'm talking about. I mean more just like, well, I guess I was asking the deck and your guides, how do you need to practice self-care? Is it bubble baths? Is it setting boundaries? Is it traveling? Is it, meditating? And the card that came up was the Nine of Cups, another quote unquote amazing card to see. Another cup card. Nine of Cups is like the wish card. It's kind of meant to be that time in life, or representative of the times in life where you've kind of gotten everything you've wished for. You sort of can like step back and look around and go, oh shit, um, this is what I wanted all my life, or this is, you've reached a milestone that feels exciting, or whatever it is. And so it's about looking around and enjoying the beauty in life. Um, so, it's also about treating yourself a bit. So, in terms of self care, it's about, can you let yourself enjoy life's sweetness? So, can you go to museums? Can you go to a live music show? Can you pick up some new hobbies? Can you spend more time in the kitchen? Can you do your baking classes? Can you. I only laugh because it's you and dad, but can you have a bit more romance in your life, a bit more like passion in your relationship? Can you eat good food and go on vacations? Really like revel in kind of the sweetness of life, especially off the back of last year where there was so little of it. Um, but the important thing about this as well, in terms of self care, is this card isn't just about like looking around and seeing that you've got everything you've ever wanted. It's also a reminder that like you have to have gratitude for these things or they disappear. Well, you have to have gratitude for these things no matter what. They will disappear even if you have gratitude for them. Like life comes in cycles. We won't be in these periods of contentment or harmony forever. So it's just having a lot of gratitude and holding reverence for these stages of life. And it's like the law of attraction. The more you see the good in the day to day, the more good you'll see every day. I saw something yesterday that said you have to have, according to Kabbalah, like appreciation, 100 different moments where you stop in your day and you go, I'm grateful for this, or that was awesome, or I'm thankful for this part of my life, or I loved that. They can be really small moments. It can literally be like, oh, that man held the door open for me when I was carrying all my groceries. That was nice. And you stop and you think about it for a few seconds, but it takes 100 moments of appreciation throughout the day to start to like attract more and more abundance and goodness and more things to be grateful for. So I thought that was like a cool thing to think about. But yeah, in terms of self-care, it's just like appreciate the good and you see more good. So take time to enjoy the goodness in life and make life feel really sweet, but also like make sure you're really appreciating those moments so that they're even more fruitful. Another cup card for our next question. So this question was, what are you being invited to focus on this year? Like where should you place the majority of your focus? And this card was the Ten of Cups, which is another happy family card. You can see these little kids skipping, the mom and dad, and yeah, this is all about happiness and joy, especially again, similar to the Four of Wands actually, relating to family. It's all about like harmonious family units. So it's like periods of tension or stress or discordance have faded, and there's like no more fighting. It can be a card of reunions. So hopefully this is like me coming back to America, maybe even late next year, you guys coming to Australia or whenever borders open, which would be so freaking amazing. And it's just about like creating fun memories, happy memories. It's about celebrating romantic love as well. And it's really just like, again, really similar to the Nine of Cups card, which makes sense because it went Nine of Cups to Ten of Cups. But it's focusing on the gratitude you have for having this kind of like harmonious friends and family unit. This also is about trusting your inner guidance to guide you towards the good things. So in terms of like what you should focus on this year, it's twofold. It's one, focus on positive time with family. I think again, this is so important off of the year we had with grandma, mom, and dad's health, and just the stresses with, well, obviously Piper's amazing. The stresses with her and that whole situation, that I'm sure are there. And so, yeah, it's just like appreciating that when things feel good, appreciate that they feel good, and focus on that. But then also focus on trusting your inner guidance and not letting your head lead, but your heart lead. So make decisions in line with your personal values and not what others expect of you, but what feels good to you. And it's kind of simple, but this is always easier said than done. But it's like do more of what makes you feel good and less of what makes you feel bad. So, yeah, just focus on what Nancy really wants, because you're such a giver and you're so often like filling others' cups before you're filling your own. So it's like Marymount is done, Piper is getting older, Dad's health is better. What can you do to, like, what does Nancy want to do? Again, focusing on like your inner guidance, and yeah, like when you are in a situation that feels good, stop, reflect on it, focus on it, and then think about how you can like replicate that scenario so that it feels good. You can do things that feel good again and again. More water, please. How good do my nails look, by the way? Okay. Next one. How can you bring more joy into your life? So you can be kind of a serious person, and as I said, you've got a lot of stressors, even though that work is now thankfully not one of them. I'm sure retirement comes with its own kind of void that needs to be filled in some ways. Maybe you haven't felt it yet and you're still kind of reveling in that part of your life being done, but you're obviously like taking care of Piper all the time, and you've got Grandpa, and you've got Curran, you've got me over here. So I thought it'd be nice to find out how you can have a little more joy and a little less stress. So the card pulled was Nine of Wands. So Nine of Wands means a couple different things. What I interpreted this was, again, kind of twofold. So the Nine of Wands on the surface, it was about like having the strength to face adversity. So when challenges come your way, kind of like being resilient and being tough, like this guy with his bandage on, and he's, ready to face whatever comes next. But the Nine of Wands is less about like impending challenges and more about like you need to embrace the understanding or like the truth that you can face any challenges that come towards you successfully. So if you kind of embrace that information that you know that anything you can face, you'll be successful in. Look at the past year again, like I can keep bringing up these examples, but all the things at home you've had to face. You didn't like your job for a really long time. You've had really challenging classes. You've had family health. You've had a new baby. You've had kids abroad. You've had so many other things that I'm probably not even privy to going on. And you've successfully survived all of them and with flying colors. So if you know that, like a way to have more joy is to, instead of whenever something comes towards you, all of the inner monologue that might be like, oh, can I do this? Am I strong enough? Will I survive? Will I get through this? It's just like, no, you don't need to have that thought process. You can just say, yes, I will. Like, I know I'm capable. So when life throws you challenges, it's just easier because you're like, yep, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. Nine of Wands is also about finding your cheerleaders and your support team. It's about not fighting alone. I feel like you're very much a suffer in silence kind of person, but like, who are your partners, dad, kids, me and Curran, like Uncle Rob, friends? Like, you have so many great girlfriends. Like, who can you turn to? Julie, in these moments. And traditionally you're the friend who they call you and they complain about their life and you sort of listen and talk them through it. Like, should it be you picking up the phone and venting about something that happened? Like, you have a support system to let people in, let them help you so that you're not suffering alone. And it's also, I think, for you, more how you can find more joy. Like, Nine of Wands is also about boundaries. So it's like looking at your life, who and what depletes your energy. Like, is it like a friend that you have, or like maybe not a proper friend, but somebody who's kind of like in your orbit that calls you and drains you? Or is it like a situation? Like, is it something like managing the fish fries? Like, do you kind of like get tired by that, but at the end of the day it actually makes you feel good and it fills your cup? Or do you literally leave like depleted, energy drained, and you're just doing it because you have like the guilt and you want to like help the church? Like, you need to think about what actually is good for you versus what's like an energy suck, and those boundaries will help you have more joy. Nine of Wands. Next one, the question I asked was, what are your hidden strengths that you can embrace? So, Eight of Cups is what was pulled. So, what are your hidden strengths? This little guy walking away, Eight of Cups here, moon up there with the sun. So, Eight of Cups is interesting. I interpreted this with your hidden strengths as like the Eight of Cups is a card of abandonment. So, at first I was like, what does this mean? What I've interpreted it as, and I did some reading on it, is um, Eight of Cups, like, well, you could look at it as abandonment. It's also like time to transform. It's time for you to be the little caterpillar who goes into her cocoon and comes out a butterfly on the other side. So, your hidden strength is the ability to transform, the ability to leave behind what is familiar and look deeply inside and see like what needs to be cut, what fat needs to be trimmed. Kind of like what I was just talking about with setting boundaries. Like, is it church needs to go, or is it a person that needs to go? Is it a thought pattern that needs to go? Is it a situation, like whatever it may be? It's this card, Eight of Cups. You see the moon, the moody sky. Cups again are all about emotions and inner work. So it's like, how can you go deeply inside to see, like, to see what you need to kind of like leave behind, or kind of, it doesn't have to be leave behind, but just like evolve out of. I know you always talked about with like your retirement wanting to become a whole new person and like shed your skin, and like this to me is like an amazing time. Like, your hidden strength is that you can have this, like you can have a whole another life. Like, you're only 58, like you have so many amazing years ahead of you. You're beautiful, you're smart, you're talented, you have so many ideas. Like, let's start doing them. So I think the Eight of Cups is also about like movement and travel, adventures, journeys, distant voyages. Maybe you're gonna get to come to Australia. But yeah, it's a lot about like soul searching to see what needs to be shed, like what you want to carry with you and what you want to leave behind. So a lot of introspection. My advice for how to tap into these hidden strengths is meditation. I have a really awesome app I just started using called Open App. I would love to get you a membership if you like. It's like little guided meditations and breathwork classes and yoga. So yeah, if you're interested, I'll show it to you. I think I have a code for a 30-day free trial actually, so maybe I'll get you set up on it. But I think meditating could be so powerful for you, like just sitting with your thoughts. Again, I obviously don't know your inner workings of how your thought processes work. I'm obviously like an ADHD brain, 55,000 thoughts at once. I'm not sure if you go that way, if you're more practical. You obviously look way more practical on the outside, but you never know how someone's thoughts actually run. But I just feel like you're always serving others, moving, go, go, go. It's like on to the next, especially with Piper these days. And obviously with Dad's treatment, and when you're in your job, like you were so just like, you didn't have any time for yourself to sit and think. And I think this year you actually have time to sit and ask yourself these questions, like, what does Nancy want? Like, your hidden strength is like tapping into a deep inner knowing and like having the ability to transform. Like, so many people are terrified of change, and I don't think you are. So it might feel scary, but I guess if it does, like, this is a reminder that your hidden strength is you can evolve, and we'd all be so excited to see that. And then so and the last couple ones I asked, I asked about your previous year. So what was the dominant theme for last year, 2020, when you were 57? I really hope I've done my math right and you are turning 58. If not, like, asterisks on all of this and just redact a year, or redact a year. But yeah, so what was your theme of last year? So the past 12 months, and that was so fitting to me when I pulled this. I was just like, of course. The 10 of Swords. So as you can see, guy carrying a shitload of sticks. They're fucking heavy. He can't see, pardon my French. Burden, great responsibility, caring for Dad, taking care of Piper, caring for Grandma, Mom. I'm sure caring for Grandpa when he's been ill, like so many other things. It's all about stress, burnout, and struggles. The positive is that not only is this like a year you've physically left behind in terms of like time, like you're moving into a new year, that's awesome. The 10 of Wands is also about like completion and like ending of this cycle. So Um, it's great that you're moving on to get a break. And if you remember the Four of Wands at the start, what you're being invited to embody, like embrace the break, like take this time to revel in the fact that you're not helping dad through chemo, you're not terrified of COVID as much as you were, like you're not, having grandma and mom at home. And like I don't mean to talk about these things as negative like burdens on you, because you obviously love all of these people. And like Piper, for example, like of course your life isn't as relaxing as it could have been if you weren't a grandma, but I know you wouldn't trade it for the world. Like you obviously wouldn't trade taking care of dad for the world. So it's not that these are negative burdens, it's just like they were, time and energy sucks, and now you're moving past them. So that's cause for celebration, I think. Sorry for all the water sips, but this is a lot. It's almost 30 minutes of just me chatting to myself. Um, and then the last cards I pulled were um, your year themes of the year coming up. Um, so I guess this is more like maybe like outer energies or kind of like things that could be happening to you. And remember, your main card of the year is this like Four of Wands. What you're being invited to embody all year is like celebration, happy family, time with friends, um, like celebrating the good life, practicing gratitude, all of those lovely things. But yeah, your theme cards were interesting because they were both the two sword cards. So swords are all about the mind. So it's like I always interpret them as less like external things and more internal. So I pulled the Seven of Swords, which is like a double mind card because all of the sevens relate to, so like Seven of Cups, Seven of Wands, Seven of Pentacles, whatever. They all relate to the mind, and then swords are a mind. So this is like the mindiest mind card possible. And then I wasn't 100% sure on like what this card meant for you, so I pulled a clarifying card. And this is why I fucking love tarot, because it always just makes me laugh. I swear my deck and guides are like a bit humorous. Like sometimes they're just like, why didn't you get it? And so I pulled a clarifying card, and they showed me the Eight of Swords, which is literally just the next one in the deck in the same suit, and they're all a progression. So in the same way you went from the Nine of Cups to the Ten of Cups earlier in the reading, we went from the Nine of Wands to the Ten of Wands second in your reading. We've now gone from the Seven to the Eight of Swords, which is actually pretty funny that we've like progressed through all of these things. No pentacles though, which is very interesting. Anyway, I really want to wrap this up because it's almost 30 minutes and I'm like terrified my computer will crash or something. And this is just a lot of time for you to sit and listen to me speak. But yeah, year theme, Seven of Swords. Like I said, I really think this is all about inner workings of your brain and how you're kind of approaching life and how you're thinking. But the Seven of Swords on like a kind of basic level is like, don't be sneaky. You might get caught. Make sure no one's being sneaky with you. Make sure you're not being manipulated. So I guess like who knows what's going to happen. And this isn't like a bad omen by any means. I think it just really, that's like the surface level of tarot. It's like somebody might give you bad news that like, I can't think of a good example. Like you were cheated on by your boyfriend or like whatever. Like that's kind of what it means on the surface. But from like a deeper level, because I think these cards are about like your brain and your own thought processes, I think it's more about like confronting things that aren't working in your life head on. So instead of trying to be like sneaky or always being beating around the bush, it's like, can you be more direct? Like if something is draining your energy, like let's figure it out and cut it, which also relates back to the Eight of Cups, like time to transform and move on from what's not serving you. So it could be foods that you're not enjoying or that you know aren't good for you. Like it could be people, it could be spaces, it could be relationships, like whatever. But I also think because these are mind cards, the Seven of Swords is about like being strategic, being flexible, having sharp wit, being resourceful, being adaptable. So like as like you might get some curveballs this year, of course we will. Like who doesn't get curveballs in life? And I think it's like instead of being it's just all about kind of like being strategic, which you already are, thinking on your feet, being adaptable. But I guess my advice is like use all of those things to make kind of like clear boundaries, clear cut decisions, and face things head on. Um, and yeah, don't let people take advantage of you. Like, own your power, step into your power. Like, this is your year, this is about you, you know? Like, this is your life. We only have one life. You're the main character of your life. So I think so often we just give our power away, and especially when you're in a situation where you have so many people depending on you and leaning on you for advice. Again, like your friends who always call you and you're always helping them. Like, who can you lean on? Like, step into your power and just make sure that um, yeah, you're not giving that away. And then when I pulled a clarifying card on the Eight of Swords, again, this is like another card relating to the mind. You see in this card, there's a person who's like all tied up and they look like they're stuck, but in reality, the blindfold is really loose and the bands around them are really loose. Like, if they just kind of like shrug their shoulders a little bit, those ropes would slip off. They could take off their blindfold and they would have vision again and clarity, and they would be free. So the Eight of Swords is all about feeling trapped by your circumstances, and it's like the victim mentality. So the Eight of Swords is just like a reminder to remove your blindfold. You're not stuck. You know, it's tempting to fall. I'm so guilty of this. Fall into worst case scenario thinking. I've been doing it about the house. I've been doing it about not being able to leave Australia. I've been doing it about work, and it's very easy to be like crawl in a dark room and think, woe is me. But Eight of Swords is a reminder to be like, hey, just shimmy a little and those bands will come off. So there's always a way out. There's always a way, as I was just talking about, to reclaim your power. Like, your thoughts, and I think what these both say to me is that you might have a year where you have a lot going on in your brain, where you're wondering, like, I'm just putting fake scenarios in your head, but it could be like, okay, I'm retired, like, what next? Like, do I want to go to baking school? You know, do I want to not work? Do I just want to stay at home and take care of Piper? Like, I don't know what the things you're even thinking about are. Like, you may have 50 other things or something really obvious that I don't know about that you're like, this is it. But like, basically thinking about all these different things that you could do, or thinking of all these things that are holding you back, it's like there are always ways. There are always ways to make things happen. And if we remember back to the Four of Cups, like, you're being invited this year to release that closed-armed, blindfolded, you know, mentality of like, oh, woe is me, like, life is really busy, I'm stressed, I'm tired, I'm whatever. And it's like, what does Nancy want? Like, this is the time to take off the blindfold, you know, put down the overthinking swords and really be like, sorry everyone, I'm gonna be a little bit selfish and do what I want to do. It's like a reminder that there will be moments this year where your thoughts aren't serving you. You might be overthinking or being super limited in your beliefs, super strict with yourself or critical, when in reality, like, trust your gut. Like, what does your gut want? Does your gut want to go on a 3-month vacation to Australia? Does your, I would love that. You know, does your gut want to go to cooking school? Does your gut want to go back and get another master's? Does your gut want to sell the house and move somewhere fresh? Like, I have no idea what these things are. Like, does your gut want an entirely new wardrobe? Does your gut want to become an author, like start a podcast? Like, I don't know what these things are, but I think these to me were just reminders of like, you might have a lot of reservations about these things and feeling like guilty that you want to transform, but this is a reminder that like, you have the ability to transform. You are a powerful person, and like, look at all the goodness that, you know, you have. Like, you're literally being invited to just like embrace the sweetness of life, you know, embrace emotional fulfillment, having everything you've wanted, having harmony with friends and family, reuniting with loved ones, like, knowing that you're capable of anything you put your mind to, you know, knowing that the burdens of last year in the past, all you need to do is uncross your arms, you know, take off the blindfold and set some, you know, clear boundaries. Be direct, be strategic, be agile. Don't be sneaky, you'll get caught. You know, just own who you want to be and what you want to be or what you want to do, and then you can transform into a beautiful butterfly. So that was a law of me talking. I'll send you a picture of these cards. Like I said, I just want to put them back in the order they were in so I don't lose their order before I forget. Although I guess I have all my notes. But That's just my interpretation. I'm not a professional, but that was a mix of my previous knowledge of the cards, my intuition, my visuals I'm seeing, and the internet. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope this video uploads to YouTube successfully. I'm going to set it to private so that no one else watches it, like random strangers, because that would be weird. But yeah, I hope you like that. I'd love to hear your thoughts. We can FaceTime about it, because there may be so many things in here that I don't know you're thinking about. So like, because I don't know, and because you probably are so in your Nancy brain where you're just thinking about other people and not thinking about yourself, or you have maybe some like secret desires or wishes that I'm not privy to. And you don't have to tell me them, but like there could be things in here that are screaming out to you that are so obvious as I'm speaking about these things, whereas I'm like, I don't know what they are, but this is just what I see and what I've learned. So if you feel like sharing, or if you have any of those aha moments, I'd love to hear them. But I love you so much. I miss you loads. I like refuse to ever spend a birthday apart from you again now that we've missed so many. Hopefully we can do next year's birthday together no matter what's happening. With borders, I'll just say F it and come back. But and yeah, wherever we move after Australia, which will hopefully be like this time next year, we'll be so much closer. Don't worry about that. I'm definitely not staying out here. But yeah, anyway, love you. I hope you have a great day. I'm sure it'll be very low key. I know the cupcakes are all you wanted, but I really hope you get to pick out some nice bits of anthropology. And if you want to send me through any links of what you're thinking, I'm sure you'll probably prefer to go try stuff on, but I've always loved their stuff. They also have great homeware if you don't want clothes. So that's another reason that we got that gift card, because I just thought if you're not in the mood to shop for clothes, you can at least go in and get some cute stuff for the house or whatever you fancy. But yeah, anthropology was all Piper's idea. So, but anyway, I love you, miss you. I hope you enjoyed this, and cheers to 58. Can't believe it. And I can't believe how good you look for 58. I'm honestly baffled. I'm just fucking praying I got these jeans. I don't know if I'm more Bobbit or more new, but you know which one I'm holding out for. All right. And that sounds harsh. I just meant more from like a I want to look like you perspective. Which maybe I do with my kindergarten sweater and my brown hair. Big glasses. What do you think? All right. Love you. Bye.